Okay, so I want to start where we started because we met at Lyft on what would be for the American audience the Memorial Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We
So it's
were,
our Victoria Day
yeah,
weekend.
yeah. So we have matching holidays. That's very kind of
Fitting, very
is
fitting.
it's kind of cute. We have matching holidays. So we met at Lyft. Do you remember what happened? You tell your story because typically people say, "How did you meet?" So you tell your story and then I'll correct it. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, perfect. Um, so I was just roaming down the aisles at Lyft, going around speaking with a few different people, and we caught one another's attention. And you asked me to come over and speak with you at the booth, but I was on my way to another meeting. So we coordinated a time to get together at, about like an hour and a half from then. And then we sat down and talked about all things Boveda.
Beautiful. So Boveda, as is depicted on my groovy t-shirt, Boveda is a two-way humidity control company that's in the cannabis business today. Had you previously experienced Boveda before we met?
I have, yeah. I actually was using it with my medicine, and I noticed an incredible enhancement in the terpene profile.
Beautiful. So you were positive about Boveda. I tell you what, we sat down and had our chat, and we even did a little video that Luke has stored somewhere on his massive hard drive. And I was really impressed with you because I asked you what I'm going to ask you right now. How did you get involved in the cannabis world?
It happens by complete accident. I actually received a phone call from my cousin back in 2013, and I had just moved downtown from living in the GTA in Mississauga. So it's on the west end of Toronto, if no one knows what that is. And I was pursuing a career in photography. I was working about 2 jobs at the time, so I figured may as well go check out this opportunity and see what it is, because girls got to make money, pay rent. So then I went, I met the CEO, became his executive assistant, and he was in the process of starting up an LP applicant. So an LP is a licensed producer. Those are the only ones who are licensed legally to distribute medical cannabis in Canada as of right now. So when I started off doing this, it was very interesting experience. I was working so closely with the CEO. I kind of learned sort of the way that people were trying to navigate this new industry. And then once we submitted all of our applications, we were like, well, how do we make money now? So we started one of the first patient acquisition clinics. And I had been working in medical clinics since 2009. So it wasn't very new to me at all. And we started assisting patients, helping run them through the legal process so that they could become legally licensed, because a lot of them weren't. There was a lot of, and there still is, quite a bit of misinformation out there. So once we did that, we started speaking with a dispensary, and I was switched over to the dispensary. And then I was just working like face-to-face, one-on-one with patients, trying to help them navigate through the legal framework, as well as assisting them and guiding them through their journey back to health or through their illness.
So were you engaged right away in the medical aspect for your personal
No. Yeah, no. So I actually, through all of that is when I discovered I was a medical patient. So I used to live in Alexandria, Virginia, when I was when I was younger. And when I moved back to Canada, like when I was there, I was introduced to cannabis. I knew that it existed because we were educated about it in our we have a DARE program in Canada, so Drug Awareness Resistance Education. So we were educated on it. Allegedly.
by the experts?
Oh yeah, by the experts. Like, it's a gateway drug. Sure. Anyways, so once all that, once I came back to Canada, I wasn't scared to try cannabis anymore, because when I was living out in the States, I'm a military brat. So my father's, he's a veteran now. He retired from the military. And I was just like, I don't want to lose my diplomatic status. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm going to be a good girl. Then when we came back to Canada, I was like, you know what, what's the harm in this? And I tried it, and I found out after I was 18 and started to, experience symptoms of PTSD that actually I had been self-medicating all of those years. So through helping others and through just being a part of their journey through their illness or back to health, I was able to discover my own journey and in turn help myself while helping them.
What I want in the long run is to see you on the speaker circuit with the conventions and doing the, testifying before Congress, testifying before Parliament, doing the things, standing up and being a representative for this side of the world. Because my personal thing, we're not just going to talk about you the whole time, but my personal thing is I'm a recovered alcoholic and drug addict. So I was deep into that whole process when I was a young person, and I got sober when I was 22. So now I'm 55. Hi over there. So I'm 55 now, and I've been sober for 33 years, and cannabis was part of my party signature back in the day. I woke up and medicated. I found ways through using cannabis and alcohol and a variety of other stimulants to cope with my day.
Well, and that's actually a physician that I worked with at a chronic pain clinic a couple of years ago. They're an addiction specialist. And a lot of their patients, when they were trying to lower their dose on their opioids, would turn to cannabis and cannabinoid therapy because it is a part of that solution.
Yeah. And part of my enthusiasm about cannabis in general, I deal with a lot of guys in recovery that are trying to get their lives together. And for many of us, it's abstinence. But for a lot of people in the opiate world, it is such a narrow path to get off of opiates that...
I fully agree. I've seen it.
Cannabis offers an opportunity for people to have the kind of coping mechanism chemically that's going to help them get through the abyss of heroin addiction. It's a devastating epidemic here in the States. I'm certain you have the same issues in Canada, and it's one of the biggest things that we're going to face. But your show, going back to this, is on Mondays at 4:20 p.m. on SiriusXM radio station 168 with Todd Shapiro.
Yes. Yeah, that is it.
Are you having fun with the show?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's a really great experience. I truly never expected to be in this position at all.
Yeah.
So I'm just very thankful for the opportunities and just the incredible people that I've been able to meet that are on the show as well. It's been very nice and refreshing.
Well, and if you would have told me that I'd be doing an interview with you on Skype in the cannabis business on behalf of Boveda, I would shake my head and wonder, because I had no expectation that I would be doing this at this stage of my career either. So I go to trade shows on behalf of Boveda, and I'm the guy that stands out in the aisle and people walk by and I say, fresh weed. And they look at me and they go, do you have fresh weed? And I'm like, no, I don't have fresh weed. But if you have dry buds that you want to keep yummy, you need to put them in a jar or a bag with our Boveda packs. So that's how we met. Is I was doing my carnival barker routine out in the deal, and you walked by and we engaged in conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that we made that connection. I want to know about Team MD. Tell me what Team MD is. I know that's a part of your life.
Yeah, so Team MD, we're still a startup, not gonna lie. And it's a company that's been founded by my partner and myself. She's been a registered nurse for over 30 years, and she's been educating patients, specifically chronic pain patients, for over 10 years. She's also my mother, hence why it's called Team MD, Team Mother Daughter.
We are
it's pretty cheesy. And we are actually like an extension or a team of the medical doctor. So essentially what our goals are to hook up with physicians who have a practice, who are maybe like on the verge of willing to prescribe cannabis. Because a lot of the issues that we're facing right now in Canada is the college is cracking down on physicians, or they're being ridiculously strict on them who are prescribing cannabis. And the way that our billing systems work here is it's incredibly, like, you have to see a certain amount of patients per day so that you can sustain your practice. So we want to just save the physician's time and become a part of their team, so where the patients are getting the proper education they need, because this is a type of medicine that needs a lifestyle. It needs a multimodal approach on so many levels, and the physician can't always sit with the patient for an hour and go over all these things with them. They need an extension of themselves. So that's where we come in, and we help facilitate that education, make sure the patient's needs are being met properly, and just make sure that the physician is able to focus on what it is that they're truly good at, and that's practicing medicine and prescribing and diagnosing and all those great things.
I just had an inspiration listening to my goal. Let's set a goal. Let's do this live. It's not really, it's pre-recorded, but let's do this right now. Okay, so the goal is see if you can get your whole being around this idea. This is a whopper.
Okay.
I see Melissa Rolston doing a TED Talk, 7 or 8 minutes of concise, spirited discourse about something in this industry, how to help people, how to find relief, and how to do it responsibly and effectively and in a healthy way. In a TED Talk, standing, holding center, and having this conversation, standing ovation, that kind of thing. I see that happening in the next 2 years. So it is August of 2017. So by August of 2019, I see you doing a TED Talk. So how do you feel about that?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because about a year ago, my one of my good friends, his name's Mark Pelly. He's very heavily involved in the music industry. Him and I were sitting on my couch just catching up about a year ago, and he said, "You know what? I see you doing a TED Talk." So you're the second person that said it.
And I haven't had any.
It happen now.
I haven't had any contact with him, so.
No, you don't even know who he is.
So the universe is telling you from different mouthpieces that this is part of your future. That's pretty exciting. So one of the things that I'm excited about in having this relationship with you, between me personally, Drew Emmer and Melissa Rolston, and between our company, Boveda, supporting what you do. You're a tremendous advocate. You're a great spokesperson. You're a heart-driven woman, which is really important to us because we're a heart-driven company. And I see so much good. I have so much hope and optimism in a world that seems to be spiraling out of control with negativity and despondency. Yeah. I'm hopeful. I'm a stand for what's possible, and I'm going to consistently encourage you to dream bigger dreams, because I see what you're capable of doing and being and manifesting in your life, Melissa, and it's fabulous. Now, to that point, I want to talk about Forbes magazine. Okay, come on. Do you have relatives at Forbes magazine?
No.
No?
No. You brought up the universe, so I kind of want to talk about it.
Go ahead.
So my friend who you saw just walk in the back there, we kind of have our own little incubator where we'll study and do work together. So that's why she's here. Her name's Sarah. She's absolutely incredible. She's very heavily involved in the healthcare field as well. But we went out for her birthday, and we hadn't seen each other in years because she's been traveling, this and that, and we've known one another for over 10 years. And after her birthday, we went out and we went and grabbed food, and I'm a vegetarian, and in Canada a popular dish is a poutine, which is French fries, cheese curds, and gravy. So I ordered a vegetarian poutine, but they did not put vegetarian gravy on it. They put beef gravy on it, and I was so sick the next day, and that happened to be the day before New Year's. So I was so sick, feeling like absolute crap, didn't even really go out for New Year's, just went to my girlfriend's house, said Happy New Year, went home, went to bed. I woke up the next day, and I sat out of bed, and I was like, I want to be Forbes 30 under 30. And it was weird. It was one of those moments where I'm like, did something just take over my body? What's happening? And then fast forward to February, I meet Siobhan Lindley, CEO of Women Evolution, who is a contributor for Forbes. And we're in one of the same entrepreneurial groups on Facebook. And she reached out to me and she's like, hey, like, I think you'd be perfect for this. And I was like, are you sure? She's like, yeah. So we scheduled a preliminary interview. And I actually shared my interview time with the woman, Antoinette Gomez, who I co-run the market Women Grow with. And she was just asking about our different stories. And we each had, like, I split the hour interview into half an hour. We each had our time. And then afterwards, Siobhan's like, you guys have great stories. Melissa, I want to run your story. Let's plan the interview. So we actually did that interview in March, believe it or not. So I was still 24 at the time, and I was 25 when it was released. But it was the first interview I'd ever done in my life. I'd never done it.
Fantastic.
So it was such a great experience. And she's an incredible woman. Like, what she's doing to just get not like women to just own their purpose and their truth is phenomenal.
Beautiful. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I am so impressed with that happened, that you created that in your life and that you followed through, that you stepped up and executed, because so many people are presented with all these doors and windows in life that open sometimes for moments, sometimes for weeks and months, and they don't take advantage of those opportunities. Fear or whatever their trip is causes them to repel and not engage. You're stepping into these things, and it is opening more and more opportunities for the future. So congratulations on that. Where can our viewers and listeners at home find your Forbes interview?
So it's in the link in my bio on my Instagram, and it's also pinned on my Twitter as well.
So what's your Instagram?
Mel.rollingstone, and my Twitter is just Mel Rolling Stone.
I can't wait to see what's next for you.
Thank you. I do have some things in the works right now. It's just pretty exciting.
Do you have anything else you want to tease besides the Todd Shapiro Show on SiriusXM Radio 168 Mondays at 4:20 p.m.? The Cannabis Report?
No, that's about it. We'll let the bombs drop as they come.